If you're wondering how to make the most fluffy, fruit-filled, not-too-sweet Asian bakery cake at home, I'm gonna show you how. I am by no means a professional baker. In fact, this was my first time making any tiered cake at all, and it's actually much easier than it looks. Here are the steps and some tips on how to recreate this. For the chiffon cake, carefully separate the yolks from the whites. If you get any yolk in the whites, they might not fluff up properly. Then add the sugar into the yolks and whisk before adding in the vanilla, milk, and oil. Once that's mixed up well, you'll want to sift in your cake flour and mix it into the egg yolk mixture gently. What is the difference between cake flour and regular all-purpose flour? Well, cake flour has anywhere from 7 to 9% protein content, allowing for a more airy, tender crumb, whereas all-purpose flour consists of 10 to 13% protein content, which can result in a more dense or firm cake. Now back to the recipe. With the egg whites, whip them until soft peaks form, then take some parchment-lined greased cake pans and pour the batter in until 80% full. Try to put them into the oven as soon as possible so you don't lose all the air you just whipped into the batter, and once they turn golden brown, take the cakes out of the oven, let them cool upside down on a metal rack until they're cool enough to go into the fridge overnight. For the frosting, you're going to want to make this the next day or once the cake has had a chance to fully cool. If the cake is too warm, you're going to end up with a melted mess. The secret ingredient to the whipped cream is vanilla jell-o powder, which has gelatin to help the whipped cream keep its shape even after you pipe it out of the piping bag. Whip your cream until medium peaks form, and then it's time to assemble. Take your cake rounds that have been cut in half hamburger style and brush each layer with simple syrup before adding a full layer of frosting. Throw in all the fruit your heart desires and then coat with another thin layer of frosting before repeating twice more. Then coat the outside of the cake with more frosting and smooth it all out with a bench scraper or an offset spatula before using some fancy frosting tips and more fruit to finish it off. I've always said that in another life I would have loved to be a pastry chef, but making this cake really got me thinking, why not in this life? I'm so proud of how this cake turned out, and I actually made this to surprise my boyfriend. This is also his favorite cake, and he loved it so much he basically ate half of it that night. I had so much fun baking this cake that it's really inspired me to make more homemade cakes in the future, so let me know what cakes I should try to recreate next.